and I hope he's coming.
I can keep that in.
Yeah, I hope he's coming.
Okay.
Maybe he will, maybe he won't.
Okay, you ready?
Born ready, mate.
Right, okay, so, hello everybody. I am here with the CEO of BodyPower himself, Mr. Nick Orton. How you doing?
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
Got a bit of a chesty cough, actually.
You know what? I think it's going around, mate.
I don't think it's corona, so we're
Oh,
all
well,
right.
let's hope not. Anyway, I haven't got my mask with me. But thanks for having me today. Really appreciate you taking the time because I know you're a very busy man, and you're entering the busier portion of your.
I am very busy, but do you know why I wanted to say yes to you?
Why?
It's because I know you are such a big BodyPower fan, and you told me about the story earlier about the first time you came and you crashed, but you still made it to the show.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't actually said that on here yet. I mean, I was going to over the next couple of weeks. I've been building up to it, you know.
Oh, sorry. Will I let the cat out of the bag?
No. We may as well do this story now. So the first time I came to BodyPower, right? See, I always say to people close to me that it's more than an expo to me, if you like, because it means life, literally, because I could have died on the way to my first BodyPower. So 2014 or 2015, I was driving down the motorway and the car in front of me braked really fast, had to avoid it. Long story short, we ended up spinning, facing backwards on the motorway and crashed into the central reservation of the motorway. Slid for about 40 or 50 metres or so, no biggie, and the policeman actually dropped me off at the NEC after I begged him so I could still go and see the Hodge twins. So all the photos you see from the old version of me, the skinny before fat to whatever I am now, that was then. The first with Christian, the first with the Hodge twins, the first with Rob, all of that lot. That was that year. So it's more than an expo to me. I actually just have this sense of life, if you like, when I walk through the door. So
it's really interesting you say that because you know, when I started BodyPower, in my mind I wanted to do more than an expo. I wanted it to actually mean something to people and to leave something really lasting. So it's good to hear that for you it does mean more than just an expo.
Well, yeah, definitely. So on that note, where did the kind of idea originate? I mean, it started in 2009.
Yeah. So a very brief history. I'm actually from the pharmaceutical background.
Right.
And I started. I mean, I'm what you typically class as a serial entrepreneur. So I've had my own business since I think the first one was I was 14, cleaning cars,
Wow.
carpet cleaning. I've done all sorts of things, and you know, that sort of funded me through university actually. And
Right.
I did so well with my car valeting carpet cleaning that I had 2 cars while I was a university student. I mean, I was on
Really?
Back then, you got grants. You can't get grants
Well,
like you used to.
You get grants, so just little.
Well, you have to pay them back. So we did. I'm
true.
50 now, so I'm going back a long time. But in those days, you actually got a grant. You didn't have to pay it back, which was amazing.
Right.
And it was all means tested. And, I was a single parent family, so you know, my mother was poor, so I had a grant, but I subsidised it all by earning money. And the other thing I did, which was great for me, was because I was used to looking after myself, I knew how to cook, and pretty much every other student I was with, they didn't know what to cook, so they were eating absolute crap.
Right.
I used to, on Sundays in particular, I used to cook people roast dinners. I'd have a queue down the aisle. I used to sell these dinners. I'd just be there.
You sold them?
Yeah, I sold them.
I thought you were just, you know, I thought you were talking about the kindness
there
of your
wasn't a
heart
soup
sort of
kitchen.
thing. Right,
No,
okay,
I used to sell them
okay.
because that was how I funded my university days. And as I say, I did so well out of those and car cleaning that I had two. I'm a huge car fan. So I had 2 cars. I had an MG, a midget, and an MG B GT, which are, you know, old classic,
Yeah.
beautiful for me, beautiful classic cars. So I had 2 of those and funded myself all on the back of those things.
That's amazing. So you've always had the kind of
I've always wanted
mindset,
to have my own business, but I did go and work for a very large pharmaceutical company, really so that I could get some high-level training, how to sell, marketing were the main things that I wanted to learn about, and I did really well with that pharmaceutical company, and I left that business to start my own consultancy. I sold that company, years and years ago. Then I started to do like sponsored events, and the sponsored events went really well. And I thought I'm going to start a pharmacy trade show. So I went to the NEC, which was the biggest venue, still is the biggest venue, and I took a massive risk and took a tenancy there for the show called the Pharmacy Show, and it was amazing. I did that, and I did a whole load of other trade shows, and I sold that business.
all of the NEC.
Everything? No, I did.
Or just this one?
I did a few shows at the NEC. I'd got a whole load of shows in Ireland, Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland. I did them at Earl's Court, which no longer exists. Earl's Court used to be, for people your age, it used to be like. Have you heard of it, Earl's Court?
I actually haven't.
Seriously,
I was going to try and play it off.
Are you kidding me? You don't know what Earl's Court?
No, I genuinely haven't.
Earl's Court was the music venue in the whole of the UK.
Right.
So it was in London.
Right.
So there was this place. There's still an Earl's Court tube station.
I feel like I should have heard of this. I feel like everyone's going to be watching this and thinking, Liam, what are you talking about? But no,
I don't know. It's been going for a long time now, but it was a massive exhibition centre and concert venue.
Right.
All the big bands used to go to Earl's Court, and I did some shows there. I've got some good stories, but I won't bore you with them now. But the biggest one I did there was called the London International Custom Bike Show. Because I'm into cars and bikes, so that was something I really enjoyed doing. That whole place was razed to the ground. It's all housing now, so they sold it for hundreds of millions.
Do you know when?
I don't know, 10 years ago probably.
10 years.
You were nappies then, weren't you?
Definitely, probably. Yeah. Let's be real. I feel like I should know this because I'm a big kind of music fan, really. So
okay, well that was a place. Look it up.
Well, I'll Google it. Right, we'll move swiftly past that. Okay.
So I did that. I also did car shows. So, like I said, I'm a big car and bike fan. But like everyone will have heard of Fast and Furious. But before the Fast and Furious car TV show started, I was actually running car shows called Fast and Furious.
Right.
And they were.
I bet you were miffed when that came out.
It was great for me. Actually.
It worked out well for you,
They actually got in touch with me.
Right. Okay.
We didn't actually work together, to be honest. I would have loved to, but they were for me, they were just the most amazing shows to do because what I used to do, the biggest one I did was in the place called Brighton Racecourse. It's a horse racing place actually, not car racing.
Right.
Anyone that's from Brighton will know it 'cause it's still there. But they used to hire it out, and I used to rent it, and it cost me just a few £1,000 out of the whole place. I would have, I think, 300 or 400 show cars, just amazing. This is in the days of modified cars. They're slightly different now. So there was a huge thing called ICE, in-car entertainment. I don't think it's used. I don't think the term's used now because what happened was that car makers. So tell me if I'm boring you, but
basically, me and the old man love cars as well. Okay, so you're not boring me.
Like old cars, there used to be slot in, slot out stereo systems. So you'd clip, you pull them out like that, and there was a massive increase in car thefts. But you used to smash your window and grab your radio.
Yeah, my sisters both had their.
Okay, so that used to happen a lot, and then car manufacturers changed it so there was built-in in-car entertainment, and actually that was the death for me of Fast and Furious because I used to raise a lot of revenue through exhibitors from all the companies who used to make the in-car entertainment.
Right.
And there was still some around, but then that was the sort of kiss of death, and people started. You could buy modified cars from manufacturers.
Right.
But those shows were amazing. We used to do things like drive-bys, burnouts. We used to. I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to tell you. But
it's long gone now. You're
yeah,
right. You're good. You're good.
We used to give free tickets to the girls that flashed their boobs. So they.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah.
Let's keep it PG.
I hope my kids aren't watching this. So they used to drive past in the cars and just go like this as they drove past, and if they did that,
yeah, sure, come on in.
They got a free ticket. Yeah, it was funny days. And then we used to like sit on the back of the cars until the tyres popped and all that sort of stuff. So it was fun times. Anyway, so I had that, and I had a whole load of shows actually. I sold the whole business in 2008 to a venture capital business for a lot of money.
In 2008?
In 2008,
right,
which shows you the timing.
I can sense what's coming now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, I won't get into too much detail, but basically, I hadn't started BodyPower, but I had it as a concept, and I sold the concept as well.
Right.
But fortunately, my lawyer had said to me, put into the contract that if they don't run with that, you can take it back. So
right.
I actually sold the concept of BodyPower to the people who bought the whole business. And then they said that they didn't want to run it, and so I invoked the clause that I'd got in my contract to say, well, I'll have that back, thanks.
Right.
So we'd done a lot of work on it by 2008. It was a smart move, but I can't take any credit because it was actually my lawyer that did it. Thankfully, I, when they said they weren't going to run it, I was gutted because I didn't need the money. It wasn't about that. It was, like I said at the start of this interview, that for me, BodyPower's something more than an expo. I wanted to create something that, and bear in mind, this is 2008 I'm talking about, right? The market is very different to what it is now. Very few people were into fitness, and not many people were members of gyms. There weren't that many. I mean, there were gyms, obviously, but it's very different to what it is now. And it was blatantly obvious to people like me who were into fitness that we had to do something.
Right.
Do you know, like climate change now? It was similar in the. For me anyway, it was similar that we needed to do something that would capture the heartstrings of people so that they would feel like fitness was an important part of life. And bearing in mind, I was from the pharmaceutical industry, so I'd worked in the medical health area. I covered lots of different areas then, but respiratory was one of them, for example. So asthma was cystic fibrosis, asthma, all, like chronic lung diseases were all things that I trained on with that pharmaceutical company.
Right.
And so I could see really every day that fitness was a major factor that was impacting these people that were getting ill. And actually the fitter ones were not getting ill. So it was really obvious, and so that's really the reason why I wanted to start this show, BodyPower. And the sort of concept was that, and then back in the day, now powerlifting, strongman, weightlifting, bodybuilding, all of those things are fully integrated, right? You wouldn't think of them being separate. They're very cross.
No. I mean, to be honest, me and pretty much everyone I know likes to do a bit of everything.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if you can imagine that before BodyPower started, they were very separate. They did not mix. So, powerlifting and strongman, they all existed, of course, but they didn't sort of cross over. Weird to think it.
I mean, to be honest with you, that whole concept to me sounds bizarre.
Yeah.
Because I'm so kind of
young.
Used to. Well, I suppose you could say that, because everyone that's then younger than me is going to come up with this same mindset, and it's going to, like saying to someone now in their was speaking to my old man about it the other day when they didn't have phones in the, I think it was 1980 something, and he was like, "Oh, this particular situation I could have done with a phone." It's like, "You didn't have a phone." It's like, "Yeah, I didn't have a phone." So we got this. It just blew my mind, and then I was like, "Hang on a minute, that's stupid that's blown my mind." But then everyone younger than me is just going to be completely.
Yeah.
You know.
So those different sort of interests, they just didn't overlap. They were very, very separate, and the idea for BodyPower was, I wanted to bring all of those groups together under one roof. No one had done it before. Like, there were bodybuilding shows, there were powerlifting shows, there were strongman shows, but no one had put it all together
in one place.
So that's what I did, and it was a big risk. I mean, fortunately for me, I was in a very fortunate position in that I had a lot of money because I'd sold my business. I was doing it out of passion, and I knew about exhibitions. I mean, I was an expert in how to run an exhibition, and that in itself is a very different set of skills to running a show, basically.
So you were essentially in a position to not be too fussed about starting it, but you started it because of the passion for the idea of bringing all of these things kind of together. Is that kind of...
Yeah, and the other thing is, I wasn't, and as you can probably tell, I'm not a bodybuilder, not a powerlifter. I mean, I love all of those things now, but then I didn't know anything about those things. I was a good standard squash player and a good runner, and they were my things, and cyclist, but I'd say running, squash.
More kind of endurance-based things.
I'm very much an endurance athlete.
Everyone likes that now, that label.
I might put that under my business
put
card.
Put it in your Instagram bio.
I might do that. But I didn't know anything about them, but I was really interested in them, and so I went to see Dorian Yates because I knew of Dorian Yates, and he lives locally.
Yeah, well, I mean, he has a lot to do with Temple, doesn't he? Temple Gym.
Well, that was
back
his
in the
gym.
day.
Yeah, I mean, now he lives in Spain. I needed to find out more about bodybuilding, and I knew this was one of the areas that I wanted to lead at BodyPower. And so I looked up this guy Dorian and called up and said, "I'd like to come and see you." And he said, "Sure, come over. We'll go for a coffee." So I went over there, and honestly, he was quite scary.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I was so scary. He was quite intimidating. You go into Temple
just
Gym,
because of the size of him,
and he was big, and but also that gym, it's downstairs. It's a basement.
Yeah.
I say scary, maybe the wrong word to use, but he was quite intimidating. Was how I felt. But I got on really well with him, and I told him what the concept was. And he liked it, and I have to say he's an extremely intelligent man. He's,
well, they call him the scientist, don't they? So
he's got an amazing brain, and he said, I like the concept, I'll support it, and he really helped me get it going.
With ideas or
well, the main thing that he did was he said, "I'll get you some big names." Well, I didn't know any of these people. I didn't know any of these people.
I had no idea he had so much kind of involvement in it. Carry on.
So he said, I've got to remember. He said, "What I'll do? I'll get you two. No, what did he say? I think he said, I'll get you a headliner, somebody who's going to headline, and obviously I'll be there myself." So I was like, brilliant. So Dorian Yates is going to come. He's obviously a legend in the industry, and he said, "I'm going to get you this person," and now this story's going to be ruined because I can't remember who the guy was. Anyway, he got me this particular bodybuilder who was right up on the scene. A week before BodyPower, the guy got badly injured. And Dorian called me and said, "Bad news, this guy's not going to make it." And I was like, "Oh no, this is bad first show, big names, not going to make it. He said, but
Mm.
don't worry, I've got somebody else for you. Now, he's not big at the moment, nobody's really heard of him, but trust me, I think this guy's going to be huge.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, you know what you're talking about, so
Mm.
I'll go with what you say. And a guy called Kai Greene turned up.
I was like, where are you going with this?
Yeah.
Wow, right,
A
okay.
guy called Kai
okay.
Greene turned up, and wow. And, he'd won the Arnold Classic.
Yeah.
I think it was his first win. Nobody, he was low profile, nobody knew.
I suppose the whole kind of industry was a lot kind of smaller.
It was
bodybuilding anyway.
obviously within the bodybuilding community there were many stars, superstars, but yeah, it was Dorian that, for me, that spotted Kai was going to be huge,
Right.
and it was Dorian that called Kai himself with a week's notice and said, I want you to come over to this show. The rest is history. And Kai came here and he just went down a storm. Very different Kai Greene to what you see now in terms of his, not necessarily his personality, because he's obviously very thoughtful and
Yeah.
he talks slowly and at length. And he was the same then, but he was much more, I would say, timid. I can remember the conversation I had with him now, and it was very, what's the word, sort of artistic, and he was deep, really deep.
Yeah.
And he talked about books and writing and I think architecture, and I was like, wow, this doesn't match with what I'm seeing. In front of me, I'm seeing this
humongous
monster.
kind of guy, yeah.
But really gentle and thoughtful and intelligent, and we're a really amazing guy. And I'm sure I've kept in touch with him ever since, and he is a genuine, amazing character. But yeah, that's the story. So that he came the first year, and then
I didn't realise that. I didn't
yeah,
realise.
and obviously we've kept in touch since, I think to an extent. I mean, I don't claim any level of helping Kai, but he did gain a lot of notoriety, certainly in this country, by
From
being
that.
at it.
Yeah.
And he's gone on to do amazing things off his own work. I should
He was
say,
in
not
Stranger
for
Things
me.
as of late, wasn't
He was, and he's got lots of things planned. So good luck to him for
he?
the future.
Yeah.
So that was really how it all started, and I did the same with the other, federations and athletes from others. There was a guy that you should know, but Mariusz Pudzianowski.
Oh, I know the
You
name.
know the name?
I've never met him.
Okay, so Mariusz was he was a legendary strongman. I don't know. Something tells me he won World's Strongest Man 4 times. I'm not sure. I might have got that wrong, but back in 2009, when the first BodyPower ran, Mariusz was a megastar. In Poland, he was like the #1 star, and I managed to get him to come over, and it was hilarious. He was the biggest star that came to the show actually that year,
Right.
the first year. The funny thing was that because he was there, an enormous amount of the Polish community came, and I mean huge numbers.
Really?
And they followed him around the show like he was an absolute god. He was the first person at BodyPower that got a massive audience turn up for him.
Right. So this one guy literally just had a crowd of people following.
But I mean, huge crowd. Like he was. I couldn't believe it.
Do you know how many numbers there were back in?
The first year we did it, 8,000. It was around 8,000 people, which blew me away.
In the first year.
The first year, yeah.
So how big was?
It was about 10,000 square meters. If I show you on this plan here, which is not very big, and you'd have to have really good eyesight.
We
to
can
be
have
able to
little
see it from
close-ups on at
camera.
the end. It's all good.
Normally, as I was saying, that we normally have an AO, which is a huge thing. But I won't have that for another month or so.
Yeah.
So 10,000 square meters would be like that bit there. Just that bit.
Wow. So this bit here was the first year,
Yeah.
and this is what 10.
Well, this doesn't show all the halls actually. I mean, this goes down here, and then, well, I'm jumping into.
That's
what
not
we
even
do.
all of it.
No, that's not all of it. This is just actually, this is a sales thing. So
it's bigger than that.
yeah, it's bigger than that. Yeah.
So is that bigger than last year?
As it's shown here, this is the same as last year. We're actually going to have there's a hall called Hall 16, which is here.
Yeah.
And I've taken that as well. So we've got more space, and I'm changing it around a little bit. Do you want me to jump into this year?
Yeah, do it. Do it.
So,
Yeah, let's go for it.
Well, then every year you know, from an organiser's point of view, you have a challenge. There's a balance between the amount of space you take, the amount of visitors you're going to get, and the atmosphere that you create in the halls.
Yeah.
So imagine if I have 60,000 square metres and 8,000 visitors, you're going to be wandering around and there's so much space,
people
you
everywhere.
lose the atmosphere. Those that came in 2015, so I think that might have been your first year.
Yeah.
We actually, I got it wrong that year actually.
Really?
Yeah, so I do get things wrong quite regularly.
Okay. But
But you know, there's no.
fooled me.
There is some science in it, but essentially what happened in 2015 was I underestimated the walk up. So as an organiser, we have advanced and we have walk up, and every year the ratios change. Years ago, you got loads of walk up and less
as in
advanced.
people walking up on the day wanting a ticket. Right.
Yeah, and,
okay.
and then you know, as it's become easier, the internet has become faster. You know, online transactions become easier. You've been able to buy tickets in advance. So you know the ratio's changed. Just as a point of interest, by the way, back in the day when walk-ups are really high, organising exhibitions was massively risky. Massively.
Right, because you just didn't know.
Imagine me doing Fast and Furious show in an open venue, which there was some covered, most of it outside. Imagine if it's peeing down the rain.
Yeah.
You get absolutely obliterated because people haven't bought their tickets in advance. People who bought their tickets in advance, doesn't matter what the weather's like, they're coming.
Because they've paid for it.
Because they paid for it.
Yeah.
So it used to be, from that point of view, hugely risky. Now that particular thing has changed. Now most people buy in advance. Anyway, in 2015, the walk-up caught me by surprise. It was huge, like massive. I just couldn't believe it. And I had to keep shutting the doors because we were over capacity. So we had an overcrowding issue, which is not good, not good at all. And so health and safety in the fire department kept saying to me, it's too busy, shut the doors.
Right.
And I'm saying to them, it's not too busy, I can fit more people in.
Yeah, because you see that little space over there?
Yeah,
there's the person over there, it's all good.
So
space.
It was a horrendous show for me. I spent the whole time negotiating to get more people in.
Right.
Because for me, obviously people have walked up to my show and not only do I want to sell them a ticket, but more to the point, I want them to be able to get in.
Yeah.
And some people could not get in, they had to wait for a few hours before they could get in. I got everyone in, but it was tough, actually. It was really tough to do it. But anyway, so every year you try and change it or add it. We had 10 years of straight exponential growth with more space being added each year, as you'll have witnessed yourself. The idea is not to just add space for space's sake, but to add something of value so you can learn something else, see something else. So we got up to, I think it's around 60,000 square metres, which is huge actually. It's a shitload of space. You have to have a lot of visitors to make that look busy. I mean, like a lot of visitors. It's a lot of space.
So is there a way that you can kind of work out how many people you need through the door per amount of space?
Yes, so we have what they call a file number. So these things are very strictly regulated, which is why I had that problem that year, because they're like
so I see. So it's like the fire service and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. This is all governed by safety.
Yeah.
Like too many people, not safe enough. If there's a problem, you have to be able to get people out in a fraction of a minute. So we have all sorts of contingency plans. Every year that changes. Now we've got more security at the NEC. We've got different protocols that have come in. I went to a briefing last week, which is on the new scanners, so that as an organiser, I mean, one thing that I've never talked about really is, the responsibility of running this.
Yeah.
We have numerous medical emergencies while the show's on, which people won't see. I mean, I think we have, I don't know, it's like 20 or 30 medical professionals at the show, all full time.
Just in case shit hits the fan.
Every year things happen.
Right.
Guaranteed, because you've got 100,000 people.
Yeah.
You are going to get a few heart attacks, a stroke. Or you're going to get a broken arm,
a bruised knee.
I mean that there's lots of things happen, and my team deal with all those things basically. So that it's a very responsible thing. And fire capacities, you cannot break those things because it's public safety.
So if something happens, it's then
ultimately I am the responsible person. And I'll tell you another story about I used to run a show called the Sports Car Show, and one of the ones that I did was in Belfast, at the King's Hall in Belfast. Right. It was massive. I did all their halls full, and all their outdoor space full. I used to do a stage of the WRC rally at that show. It was wicked.
Yeah.
It was truly a wicked show.
When was this?
It would have been early 2000s, I guess. I don't know exactly, but a long time ago.
Right.
But it was an amazing show. I used to love it. And if you like rally driving, I mean, literally standing over if you're Metro 6R4, if you know those things. But they're the rally cars that got banned because they're too powerful. Just hammering past. Right. And every year I would get a ride in one before we opened the show, which was, it's a very unique thing.
Worth it just for that, if you ask me.
Yeah, so it was worth it just for that, really. Anyway, the story is that one year the head of the police force came in and said, "You've just received a bomb threat. It's a coded bomb threat from a known terrorist organisation."
Right.
There's a bomb set to go off in the car park at 1 p.m. And I was the organiser, and it is my responsibility. These people are in my show. That show got around 40,000 people to it, and at the time he came and spoke to me, it was about 12:30. It was packed.
Right.
And I mean, people would queue for 3 hours to get into that show. It was the busiest show in the whole of Ireland. And I said to him, "Well, what do you suggest?" And he said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, what do you advise?" I mean, I don't know. I don't know what am I going to do? And he went, "You sweat it out." And he just looked at me like that, and I was like, "Just sweat it out?" He's like, "Yeah, sweat it out." I was like,
just sweat it out. Okay, sure.
So I did. I got my team in the car park and did what I could to clear the car parks. And then I said to my team to get everyone back. Just get everyone back. And there's a balcony at the King's Hall. I remember now I stood on the balcony with this guy looking at my watch.
Right. Thinking
right, there's
12:59.
There could be an explosion at any second. And the time came and went. I mean, thank God, nothing happened. But it just links in with responsibility. It was then, actually, it really brought it home to me. This is on you.
Yeah.
So
something happens. Yeah.
It is a hugely responsible task. Anyway, I'm getting a bit deep there, but
yeah. I mean, no, it's good though, because I mean, that kind of stuff is the stuff that people like me, and I guarantee you, 99% of the people watching this won't even think about. Like, this is what Nick has to deal with on a daily basis. When you're walking around meeting your favourite people, these are the kinds of stresses that go on kind of...
Well, now you know why I've got no hair left.
Well,
you know, it's a fascinating job, but it isn't for the faint-hearted. It's a very stressful job at the time.
Yeah.
You know, now this is BodyPower's 12th outing. You know, it's much easier for us to run it now. But it's you know, I would say that if you're setting an exhibition up, probably 90-95% of all the work you're ever going to put into that show is done in the first 2 years. If you set it up right, for anybody that's looking to do an event, if you set it up right and you put that work in the first 2 years, you are set up, unless you really screw it up.
Yeah. In which case, you're in the wrong.
Yeah. So, anyway, I digress, but this is part of the show this year. Last year, you'll remember that we changed the format completely, and some people liked it, some people didn't. Most people liked it, actually, was the feedback, but change is hard for a lot of people, you know, and we could have continued just doing the same format and just carried it on, but I know, you know, like every market, but particularly in fitness, the market's changing quite rapidly, and it will continue to do so, and you can't keep the same product with a changing market. You've got to keep up with consumer demands, really. And I know that there's a big part of our market that are what I'd call old school. They don't want to see change, they want to see the old BodyPower, but
I want it to be like when I came in, blah blah.
You know, and I remember those days, and you know, they were amazing shows, but you have to adapt. You have to keep up with for what you want. You know, I have to know what you want, and give you what you want, not what I want. So it is difficult. And last year we changed it. We put everything was mixed before. You could see from one end of the show to the other, and I completely changed that. So I did one entrance hall, which is going to develop again. I put all the competitions on one side, and I put the shopping and the education and the trade on the other side. It was all divided up, so you couldn't see anything. You just had these different exits that you could go through. For me, it was a very successful transition. It worked well, the flow of traffic was good, all the things that as an organiser I want worked very well. It wasn't perfect, of course. It was the first time we'd done it. And bearing in mind, by the way, this is not like setting a shop up where if you put the shelf in the wrong place, you can change it the next day, and then you can move it around a little bit, and over the months you can develop it so that it's perfect for your customer. We have 3 days in a year. That's it. Screw it up, you can't change anything.
And instead of it being a shelf, it's a booth.
You
can't shift.
You have to get it right, and you can't always get it right, of course. So every year, you try and get as much as you can right. But you know, what can you do? You know, you've got 3 days. We have 2 days to build it, which is a very, very tight time frame to build something this big. Very tight. But if I told you the cost of hiring these halls, you'd realise why I do it in 2 days. Like, it is an enormously expensive.
Can you tell us the cost of it? You don't have to.
Well, all I'll say is that it's a multi-million-pound exhibition to set up.
To set up?
Just to set up, you know.
As in, like, reserve the halls and...
Pay for everything. It cost me millions to do that.
That doesn't surprise me, to be fair.
You can imagine the cost of hiring the halls is very high, and so and you pay the same rate every day. So, like, it's not like they say, oh well, you're not actually open that day, so we'll give you a 80% discount. No, it doesn't work like that.
80%.
That'd be nice.
Can you imagine? Oh please, I'll have it for the week. Cheers.
No problem. Well, you know, if you want to go to the best exhibition centre in Europe, which this definitely has been for many years, and there's no one close to it really in terms of infrastructure.
Just
what we
the
get.
sheer size of it.
It's
massive.
expensive.
Yeah.
It's expensive,
Yeah.
and that's what you pay for,
I found out just how big it was when the policeman dropped me off at gate 1 and I had to walk to gate 17.
Yeah.
But not that I'm complaining. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no chance of him ever seeing this ever. Thank you to the nicest policeman in the entire
Yeah.
world. But I had to walk a long way.
Well,
to find the entrance.
that's another thing you wouldn't realise is that we have already had our meetings this year for how we're going to get people into the show, how that impacts on the security implications, that the new tech checks that we're putting on people, that everyone, that this is the NEC and the police, this is to keep people safe. How do we do that? Some of the atriums are being closed for security, which is a good thing.
Right.
How long's the walk? How close can we get people? I want people obviously to have the best experience possible, so I want them to park as close as possible. But we take every car park at the NEC, every car park.
Yeah.
Like this show pushes the NEC to its capacity.
Limits,
it's
yeah.
the only show apart from Crufts that does that.
Oh yeah, we love that too.
Yeah.
We love that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
we'll keep dogs out of it.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me started on dogs. But we, it is difficult show for the NEC to operate as well because our market, our visitors are so enthusiastic. Like 80% arrive within a 2-hour window.
Yeah.
That's unique. BodyPower is very unique in that respect. No other show does that.
I suppose with other things, queues are going to start building up at BodyPower. You're not going to get a massive queue at Crufts, are you?
No.
Not in the same way.
Not in the same
I know
way.
there's going to be.
Queue management is a real issue for us because again we don't want people to be waiting too long. But if you want to wait for Christian Guzman, you expect a long wait.
You've got to.
The guy I see you wearing this.
I am indeed, and I uploaded a video yesterday about him.
He's an amazing guy, isn't he? But
yeah, definitely.
And I suppose as well, for me, seeing those people develop is really. I really like to see that. He's been coming for a long time, of course. And people like Craig Ritchie, who's developed really well. He started his whole career in Fit Factor, an event which I started because I didn't like the fact that some of the other shows were, to be honest with you, were just corrupt. And so I started Fit Factor because I thought, well, I'm uncorruptible.
Yeah.
So I don't care if you're my best friend, you won't get any benefit in that show. So and Craig came along to an audition there, and I remember now, a good-looking guy came, good physique, told me he was a dancer, and I said, go on and dance.
Seriously?
Yeah, and he did a break dance. I was like, wow, you're
you're
going
all right,
places.
you are, yeah.
You're going places. So it's good to see people like that, and good luck to him. He's doing brilliantly. Just going back to the plan for this year, we are sticking with a similar format to last year, but we've made a few subtle changes. Again, going back to this thing, you don't get everything right, so we'll make some changes, and it's looking really good. I mean, we are too early for me to start giving you athlete names. Unfortunately.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure people at home will be disappointed, but they will also understand. I mean, the plan is, as of right now, for me to kind of come back in a few months before the Expo starts again, and we can maybe talk a little bit more.
What I can tell you is
that
I am very confident we've got some major names coming.
Okay.
I can't tell you any more because it would ruin the deal actually. But
okay. It's that big, is it?
There's some really good people coming. I'm quite excited about it. The whole market changed so much that we had this. If I could just take you back in time again, a lot of the athletes actually made their names and their profiles off the back of BodyPower and shows like BodyPower.
I would say that's a fair statement.
And they will know this as well as I know it and you know it. And the sad thing is that a lot of those people, then I'd say, do you want to come back? And they'd say, well, yeah, how much are you going to pay me? I'd be like, well, we have hundreds of athletes come along to the show, as you know.
Yeah.
What if I pay everybody? Well,
Yeah.
I can't afford to do that. I'm running a business here.
Yeah.
You know, what do you want me to just put it on the
I'm
price of all
paying
the
the
tickets?
NEC
for the
millions here, come on.
And, you know, we, believe it or not, I mean, the ticket to BodyPower is not cheap.
Yeah.
I don't think it's expensive. You know, if you compare it to like a football match or something like that, then it's not an expensive show, but it's not cheap. And I really appreciate that people spend their own hard-earned money to get into the show. Trust me when I say that we try to keep the ticket price as low as possible. By the way, out of that ticket price, obviously we have VAT to pay, 20%. We have fees to the NEC because you have to pay
More things that people don't think about.
You have a card operator fee. You have the ticket agent fee. All that come out of there.
Right. Okay.
So
all of a sudden,
you know, once you start to add that up, you can see why tickets do get a little bit more expensive. I've tried to keep the ticket price reasonable. I think they're reasonable. You've got an option. You can buy like a standard ticket. I think it's, I don't know.
There's
what the price is.
three
it's
tiers,
like
isn't
£25, something like that.
yeah.
We've changed the tickets this year. We've got the standard tickets. We've got Team BodyPower, and we've got Team BodyPower Elite. So I've dropped the old VIP and Platinum.
Yeah.
I think those terms are sort of outdated, and
it can just affect someone's opinion of it more so than calling it something like a Team BodyPower kind of ticket. Yeah.
Well, if you think, I mean, again, years ago we had and we do we've put in the ultra ticket as well. So years ago, like I launched VIP and Platinum, thinking not many people were buying them, and like thousands of people were buying these tickets. Actually, logistics of doing that is really tough, really tough.
I suppose because you get extra stuff with the tickets and all that then becomes, although you can charge more for it, becomes an extra job for someone somewhere.
Yeah, it does. And when you start to think it's thousands of those things,
not just half a dozen of,
it's really
half
hard.
a dozen t-shirts.
You know, we've tried everything. So we wanted to do it so that everything. I think last year and the year before we sent everything out to people in advance. It's really tough.
Yeah,
really tough. And invariably, the postal system is not 100%. So you get people that don't get them.
Right.
And that actually causes more problems because you can't do that. Anyway, so what we're doing this year, we've got Team BodyPower and Team BodyPower Elite. You will get a bundle of things with your Team BodyPower, your Team BodyPower Elite. But the neat thing about it is there are different stations around the show. It's going to be very interesting.
Okay.
So you'll get a map.
Someone's asked about this.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carry on.
So yeah, you'll come in. Obviously, you get in early because you've got that ticket. There's what I'll call a fanfare. So I can't give you any more details at the moment, but there's something special. And then you get like a little map which will take you to certain pickup points around the show where you collect stuff.
This is this year?
This is this year. It's the first year we've done it.
Okay.
So if you get the Team BodyPower Elite, you get more basic pickup stations.
Right, I see. Okay, so because I've been, obviously because I upload all the videos at the time and all of this, people ask me kind of year-round questions about BodyPower that I always don't know how to answer. And so this has been something that I keep getting asked is, which ticket do I buy? And I'm like, well, you get different things with them. We always go for this one. You could get this one, you could get this one. I always focus on entry time because I like getting in earlier, so I can film some stuff and all of that, but I never really know. So if you are one of those people, and there's many of you asking about the tickets, listen up.
Yeah.
Well, back to you, Nick.
Well, I mean, the early entries, I think, so many people come to the show that I think early entry is a good thing. You get in before the crowds. The reality is probably the athletes won't be there. Because the athletes don't tend, I mean some do, but they don't tend to get there until a little bit later. But what the early entry does is it means that you can see the layout, you can go and see your favourite brands, and one very interesting thing is that there are going to be some some really interesting brands.
Okay.
Like I said, the market's changing. We've
Can
got
you tell me any?
so many.
Just one.
You've got to come back.
Just something. I will come back, but
you will see that there is a different flavour and some really interesting exhibitors to see with some very interesting products. So I think getting early would be a good thing, and I will tell you, but I'll have to tell you a little bit later.
Right. Okay.
But like I would love to tell you right now, and it's actually frustrating for me not to be able to, but you know, most of the companies that get involved, they have their own PR teams who want to schedule things, and so the last thing they want me to do is to then go out ahead of them and blow it out of water, unfortunately. So that's why I have to keep tight-lipped on stuff.
Right.
But it's going to be a good show. I'm really excited about it because, like I say, I think we've had a few years where there's been consolidation in the market. We had Brexit. I'm not going to bore everyone with that, but it was a major issue for the fitness market. And
another thing that people won't really.
There was a huge impact for us as a company actually. But we're now seeing an upturn, and there's no political comment here, but and I don't think it's anything to do with them, but we are seeing an upturn through our own hard work, and there's some really interesting companies coming into the market that no one will have seen before.
Right. And they're going to be there.
They're going to be there, and there's some big brands that are going to be there that haven't been involved in fitness specifically before that are going to be really interesting. So I think this year, not specifically fitness brands, but brands that want to talk to you.
Right.
That are fitness related. And I think it's like a transformational year where we see the market changing so much that this is the new market, if you like.
Right. Okay.
I think it'd be really interesting. So, and obviously we're going to be putting all our educators on, and we've got the gym town, we've got the trade area.
So
by the way, the competitions have gone ballistic. Do you know what? We're going to be putting a post out, so I'll tell you this in advance, really, if the post's going out. But we now have the world's biggest strongman event.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's crazy. That's like one. I keep having to cough. You know that chesty cough you were talking about? I think you might have given it to me. I need my mask on. But you were saying about the post on about strongman. That's amazing.
It's the novice classes, and to me, that is really interesting. So again, it's part of the changing nature of fitness is that novice strongman events are amazingly popular at the moment.
Yeah.
So we sold out. I think the competition's sold out.
Max entries?
I believe so. I mean, if anyone's thinking of entering, then try. But sorry about that.
If you're thinking about it, research it, look into it, because by the sounds of it,
get into it fast. Powerlifting has been huge at BodyPower for a while. We have 3 different benches, so that is not done anywhere else. I believe only Russia has a bigger powerlifting event than us in the world.
I thought you were going to be like in the
I
UK.
believe that's the case. Certainly in Europe, it's the biggest powerlifting show. If you look at the CrossFit competition, Rain Hill.
We love going to watch that just because it's nuts.
Yeah,
it's absolutely nuts. I mean, it has like bodybuilder, CrossFit, and all that.
They are so professional at running that event. We're delighted to be partnered with Rain Hill. We knew when they put it out last year, they sold out overnight. This year we increased the capacity. I can't remember how many it is. 1,250 people rings a bell, but I don't know whether that's right actually. But I believe that if not sold out, it's almost sold out. So that is huge, huge. We've got the National Fitness Games, which launched at the show last year. Brilliant thing. we're splitting it across 2 different halls because it's so big.
Right. Okay.
You've got Fit Factor there. You've got UKUP, which is an enormous show on the Friday. Those guys really know how to operate a good bodybuilding show, and they are doing another huge show with us. We've got the PCA who was with yesterday doing their.
Right.
It's a qualifier. They have their Worlds the weekend after, but BodyPower's so big, we get people from all over the world coming to compete there. I think that is the biggest qualifier in the country. What else have we got? But all of those competitions have really boomed. So top 10, of course. I mentioned the top 10 competition. So years ago, we used to run the martial arts show, which we had like a combat area at BodyPower, and that went away. And now we bought different combat areas. You've just seen the BJJ competition last year, Bradley Esteema's BJJ competition. That's amazing because that gets thousands of people. But also we've got a kickboxing competition with the top 10 and Kicksport. And Kicksport is a company that I jointly own with a guy called Lee Matthews, who's ex-world champion kickboxer, amazing guy. He runs a network of schools around the country called BMMA. Right. And together we run a company called Kicksport, which is a large martial arts equipment supplier, basically, kicksport.com. And so we sponsor various events. We're sponsoring top 10 and we're bringing it to BodyPower. And the great thing about that is, if you're into martial arts, is that we're doing, or Lee's doing, the reunion of the top 10 team, which was the world's leading martial arts team. And there's one particular big name that's coming, but again I can't tell you yet. But he's a movie guy.
Sensing a theme here.
Yeah, he's a movie guy that's coming, and
a movie guy.
A movie guy, yeah. And he's quite
there is a movie guy coming.
Yeah, and he's a martial artist. Yeah.
Right.
So again, it'd be brilliant. There's some MMA. There's some really good MMA guys coming. Again, I follow one in particular that I love.
Last year, what's his name? It was at Vanquish last year.
Oh, I don't know. There are lots of people on there. Martial artist, was it?
MMA fighter? Yeah, John.
Oh, John Jones.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, John. Well, of course he's a mega star.
Yeah.
It was great to have him there. But the top 10 area it's a huge show. Part of a series of shows that go round. So I'm really excited about that because obviously Lee's my business partner, so I'm really pleased that we've got that back at BodyPower, and it's massive. And there's one guy called. Am I allowed to say this? I don't know. Well, I'm not saying he's coming to the show, but if you want to see the up and coming superstar in the world, his name's Elijah, and he's 21 years old. I think he's got 13. Has he got 13 world titles? 13 or 14.
Oh, is that all?
World titles at 21, undisputed, number one.
Right.
No one can touch him. Really humble, amazing guy. Will hate me calling him the world's number one, but he absolutely
is.
You
can't dispute it, yeah.
And I hope he's coming.
I can keep that in.
Yeah, I hope he's coming.
Okay.
Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But he'd be worth watching because we need to balance legend, superstar, and up and coming.
Up and coming as well.
I love to have that balance because it's the up and coming that are gonna climb up to the extent.
Yeah.
And actually, they are the hard people to find. You look, who's the next superstar bodybuilder? Who's the next superstar powerlifter? Really hard to find, and some years it's really tough because it'd be great if you've got any suggestions for up and coming bodybuilders, let me know, because it seems to be that it's not such an easy task to find the next superstar, but certainly when it comes to kickboxing and martial arts, I'm pretty confident Elijah's the man. So I will be very pleased if he does come.
Well, I mean,
so there you go.
If not, we'll just pretend this conversation never happened.
Yeah.
But you know.
Yeah. So, but we are deep into the planning of the show, as you'd expect. Actually, in terms of space sold, we're around 80% sold, which is really good for this time of year. And you'll start to see, in the next few weeks, a real ramp up of energy in the announcements that we're making as we start to build up the momentum to the show. But you can buy your tickets now. I mean, we always sell out of the old VIP, so I expect the Team BodyPower and the Team BodyPower Elite to sell out. If you do want those tickets, I'd recommend you get them fairly soon. Well, not soon, but make sure you buy them in advance.
We've sorted our hotel. We haven't actually got the tickets yet, I won't lie to you, but we've got the hotel. We normally stay, I can't think what it's called now, across the pond.
Across the pond? You don't mean in America?
Next to no, there's like a lake at the NEC. Oh, what's it called? Crown Plaza. Crown Plaza. That's it. We usually just stay there. And last year the Wi-Fi actually broke and we weren't very happy. I had to upload the videos that you saw by 4G on my phone.
Oh really?
Yeah. So I used all my data last year.
Again, do you know what? Our hotel bill is like, in fact I looked at it the other day, £32,000 we spent on hotel rooms last year. Just on hotel rooms.
For people that...
For my team and our contractors and partners and stuff, yeah.
32 grand?
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
less than I spend on carpet, mind you.
Right.
But
I've heard people moaning about the carpet. I don't know what they're moaning about. Because from my perspective, right, I film videos, and the fact that it's not yellow is actually easier. It wasn't yellow, was easier for me, for the camera that I had at the time. I've got a different camera now, so God knows what colour it's going to be this year. But it was red before it was yellow, right?
I don't know.
I swear it was red,
like
and then it was yellow.
Yeah.
But then people didn't complain about that. But then people complain when it changed to whatever colour it was. I don't understand.
I don't know whether people actually complain or whether they're actually taking the piss out of me, because I don't know if you ever saw it, but one year I put out a bit of a rant. It was a joke actually, but people that don't know me probably thought I was being serious, but I was complaining about the carpet because my carpet bill is like I think it's like £75,000-80,000 just for carpet. Just for carpet, and that's it, one use. I don't get any more use out of it. I think I put like this sort of tongue-in-cheek rant out saying about the carpet, and it cost me so much.
When was this?
It was a few years ago. But ever since, people have always commented about the carpet. I don't even bloody mention it.
Okay, so it's your fault.
Yeah, it's my fault basically. But actually, do you know what? Those little things like carpet colour, they do make a difference. I'm putting carpet down in the right areas makes a difference. Sometimes there's no point putting carpet down in certain areas.
Do you know what colour it is?
No, I've got a clue.
Don't you?
No. What colour do you want? I like light colours. I like it to...
It's bright.
Yeah, it's bright, but do you know what? When you talk to the carpet contractors, they're like, you want yellow? Like, yeah, they're like, okay, because the problem is if it rains, your carpet gets absolutely knackered.
Muddy shoes
it gets really dirty, so it gives the cleaners a problem. But yeah, I like light coloured carpet. And
me.
So it might be light.
When you say light, you sounds to me like you already know what colour it is. You're just not.
No, I haven't got a clue, mate.
No. Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Actually, do you know what my role is? Actually, I mean, I really don't have much operational involvement in the show. In fact, my role as chief executive of the business is, as you know, I'm constantly travelling.
You're everywhere.
And so we have business
India
all around the world.
Yeah,
and I was in Spain last week. India in 2 weeks' time, I think. But I'm often in India. But my role has progressed really, or developed, I suppose, so that I'm looking after the strategy. I look at the market, how it's changing. One really interesting thing is looking at international markets and the position they're in and how they're going to change, and I do find that fascinating. And also, our overall goal, my overall goal is to influence 1 billion people. And
a billion?
1 billion people. And I've been working on that for 12 years. And
so how are you keeping track of that?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, obviously it's not a science. It's more a, But I know that every year I get X number of people through the door.
Yeah.
I do X number of meetings. I do X number of videos. Got X number of views, and we're in the hundreds of millions. We are in the hundreds of millions,
But
and
that
only
doesn't
possible
surprise me at all.
because we work in Asia. So we do a lot of work in Asia.
Right.
India, I focus on a lot. There's 1.3 billion people there, and so many of the views and the influence and the people towards that billion people are in India. We work in Sri Lanka and Tibet and China, of course, and Thailand, and all these countries we're doing stuff in.
1 billion people.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the aim. And it's not like I'm gonna. It is a slight guesstimate, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
a
yeah.
direct thing. But I, in my head, I know where I'm at, and I know what I've
Wow.
got to do to achieve it. And actually, for anybody that's in business, or actually anybody that's setting their own plans or objectives or targets themselves, you should have that target set here. And everything that I do, and I mean everything, I look at it from how many people am I going to add to that target, to the much closer I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
And which is why I do what I do, because I'm constantly doing things like this, for example. And thank you for taking the time to come and talk to me. Because
thank you.
But everybody that listens, I'm thinking, well, maybe I get a chance to influence them myself, and then it helps towards my end goal of 1 billion people.
1 billion, yeah.
So I do think that a good bit of business advice for people is set a target, have it, and be focused on achieving that target, because it's all about focus. That's all it is. It's all about focus and making sure you get to take baby steps to get, and you'll eventually reach that target.
Yeah, that's the one thing. I'm glad you said baby steps. That's what I always say to myself. I mean, obviously, I don't have a billion goal as just yet, but I just say, wherever it is that you want to be, just take that little baby step each day, and all of a sudden those baby steps add up, and all of a sudden you're taking big boy steps, and then you're taking bigger steps and bigger steps and bigger steps.
And don't be afraid to make the target too long. I mean, like I said, I'm 50. I've got a long way to go before I achieve my billion, but I will get there, and I'm not afraid of setting long targets. And often when you're younger, how old are you?
22.
Okay, so you're setting a 10-year target for you. Probably seems like it's like a
It
lifetime
does,
away.
it does,
but
yeah,
I would
but
encourage you to do it.
Anyone in the position like yourself always says to do it, and so
I would encourage you to do it. Things are going to change in that 10 years, but have a goal and make it long term. You break it down to different parts, and your journey's going to change along the way. But that doesn't matter as long as you're aiming towards something. There's this thing, shoot for the stars, isn't there? But I do believe that if you are ambitious and you push yourself and you've got a long-term objective, you are much more likely to get there or get closer to that than if you didn't do it.
Yeah. To hear that from someone like yourself, that's of great value to me, because just getting inside the mindset, if you like, a little bit more is helpful for not only me, and I've had questions on the Instagram, people asking you a business advice basically, so it's nice to kind of get your experience.
Well, hopefully somebody listens to me.
Well, I mean, I will. So there's your one person. You can add that to your number, to your billion.
Anything else you want to know? I mean, I should say, by the way, if anyone sees me at the show, please feel free to stop me and say hello, because I do like after the show. This always makes me laugh. Every year after the show, I'll get messages that people saying, "I saw you at the show," and I'm like, "Well, why didn't you say hello?" "Oh, I didn't want to stop you." I'm like, "Why not?"
Yeah.
"Oh, well, because they think I'm like not going to talk to somebody because I'm the chief executive." No, not at all.
Pretty sure I ran after you last year.
I am very much of the opinion that everyone's equal in this world. I am not more important than anybody else. I have a job to do. I I like talking to people. You know, we are all equal at the end of the day. So it just makes me laugh that people say, "Oh, well, I saw you, but I wanted to talk to you, but I didn't want to actually interrupt you." Like, well, I wasn't doing anything, mate. I was just,
wandering around.
I was wandering around because I'm like you. Like
Yeah.
once the show's open, I have got
You
these
can
responsibilities that I've got here. But after the first day is always a bit manic. But particularly on Sunday, I am pretty relaxed on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I've got rid of all the issues, mainly.
Just kind of cruising
I'm
to the end.
enjoying
sort of
the
thing.
show and looking at what's going on, and you know, I like talking to people. So, you know,
Yeah.
So there you go.
I'm trying to think of. Oh, I'll tell you what I can do. I'm going to grab that list and see if there's anything that we haven't kind of already covered. Oh, here's a good one. Did you ever think BodyPower? This is the first one I've seen. Did you ever think BodyPower would be as big as it is today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So,
now that I don't mean that to sound
like that.
arrogant, but I mean as I was just saying about long-term targets, absolutely, I wanted it to be the biggest show in the world,
Yeah.
and it is. So, the biggest. I should qualify that it's the biggest indoor consumer fitness show in the world.
Obvious. Yeah.
FIBO, by the way, which is in Germany, is a trade show.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it. I work with those people every year.
Do you?
We have a partnership, yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay.
They run an amazing show, and if you haven't been to Germany, it's worth a visit actually. But it's predominantly a trade show. They do have a consumer element, so. But you know, in terms of consumer shows, BodyPower is the biggest, and I'm very proud to be British and have the world's leading show, and I think we should all be. We you know, not just BodyPower, but we lead the way with a lot of stuff, and people want to come here to be our BodyPower, and you know, I share that with other people. So
even I spoke to people last year, you know, Norway, Denmark, someone from Spain as well. I think
we have over 100 people from over 100 countries come, unbelievably.
Yeah.
Which is pretty mind blowing.
It's
really.
nuts when you think about it. Really,
it is.
That is. I love getting people kind of all in one space. That's what I love so much about it as well. You know, that you get all of these different kinds of people from different countries, from different cultures, but they all have the same mindset. They're all there for the same reason. You know, to meet the people that they look up to and just have a good time. And that's what I love. One of the many things I love about it so much. But
I think it's a great place to meet people who are of a similar mindset. You know, they understand the importance of their own fitness, but also being influencers on other people, and that is the most important thing about it. I mean, I don't know if have you ever seen any of the BodyPower tattoos? I mean,
tattoos.
Yeah, so we. In this country, I don't think anybody's got a BodyPower tattoo, but in
I feel like
Asia,
I've seen something on your Instagram story before.
Well, do you know what? The first time I saw it, I was like, oh,
what?
Wow. Yeah, and someone came up to me and they got BodyPower down their forearm, and my logo down their forearm. As that, on their forearm. And my first reaction was, oh. Like,
what?
And then he said to me, I said, why did you do it? And I was like almost speechless. So why did you do it? He said, because it's changed my life. And actually it was then that I thought, wow, it's much bigger than me doing a show. You know, this is a brand that is genuinely changing people's lives, and that is an amazing thing to feel. And then I felt this great weight of responsibility that I had to. I mean, this is a long time ago actually. You know, I had to develop this and make it better and try and do everything I could to, you know, put it around the world. And now I think there's, I don't know, 50 or 60 different people with tattoos on them. There's one guy who's got,
just off the top of your head,
he's got BodyPower tattooed here. There's arms, there's legs, there's no one on their face. Thankfully, don't put it on your face.
Yeah, don't get any ideas.
Don't tattoo it on your face. I might have it here. I've got plenty of space.
I've
often thought about renting this forehead out.
You should sell the advert.
Billboard, yeah.
Oh, we paid towards the NEC fees. Sell
yeah.
The space for the weekend.
No, I mean it's. Well, it just blows me away every time somebody says. I did a thing once and I didn't follow through, but I was doing this meeting in India and I put the thing out saying anybody that wants a body tattoo, I'm going to get tattoos there. I'll pay for it for you. I had 34 people come back to me saying they wanted them.
Right.
And then something then said to me, you're paying for them, Nick. So maybe they're just having it because it's free. And I didn't want that. Actually, I wanted people to, if they're going to do it, wicked. But
do it off their own.
Do it off your own back.
Cool,
and
yeah.
if you feel that strongly about it, then do it.
I suppose there's a certain kind of enthusiasm from them to, one, get to meet you face to face, and two, get the tattoo. Three, they were probably planning on it anyway, and
Maybe.
four, it's free.
That's pretty. I think that's one of the things that has really sort of been life changing for me actually, because when you know that what you've done touches people in a certain way, in a really positive way, it's really rewarding for you. So.
Well, like I say, I can't explain the kind of feeling, if you like, I get when I walk through the doors, but it's just like this overwhelming, just gush of. Do you know what I mean? It's really hard for me to explain, and I've never been able to explain it properly, and it happened a few years ago now, and obviously I've come every year since, and I've just been there. I think it's because, just absolutely buzzing the whole time.
The whole thing represents you, doesn't it? It's everybody there is the same as you. They're all there because they feel something. They want to be. They're into fitness. They probably believe somewhere that this is the right thing. It's good to be fit. It's not good to sit and just constantly eat pizza and not do any exercise at all. We have a responsibility, every one of us, to influence the people around us. Whether you influence one person or whether you influence a billion, actually it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
If collectively we're all influencing somebody, that's a really good thing. And I do believe, without getting too deep, that we have a responsibility to other people, whether it's family or friends, that we should lead by example. I mean, I try to do that as a leader in my job. I always lead by example, and I'll give you an example. Like yesterday, I was there stuffing envelopes. I do not shy away from doing the things that I ask other people to do. I want to lead by example to show people that I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
I'm not going to just ask you go and stuff this. No, and I think it's the same with life in general. If you believe passionately that actually life is better if you're fit, then you have a responsibility to not push it down people's throats, but at least let them see that actually,
the difference it can actually make.
And it does make a huge difference. I am 50 years old, and I definitely.
I'm going to say you're looking all right. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't digging for praise there, by the way.
Well,
I don't feel it, and I'm quite sure that if I didn't go to the gym 4 times a week and I didn't run and do all those things that we, as fitness people, we do, we wouldn't feel like that, would we?
Yeah.
We'd
be a completely different person.
Yeah.
To be honest, I personally would. Anyway, thanks so much for doing this. I genuinely really appreciate it.
Where have you come from?
I come from Melton Mowbray today.
Melton Mowbray? Don't they make like cakes or biscuits or something like that? Melton Mowbray.
Pork pies.
Pork pies.
Yeah, we live
away
from those.
What, just on cheat day, right? Yeah.
Oh, pretty much every day at the minute. I've not got long left. No, I haven't had pork pie for a while. Actually, thinking about it, but I do love a pork pie.
Right. Well, you're living in the right place for it then.
Oh yeah, you can literally just go down the street. It's called the Ye Old Pork Pie Shop.
Yeah, I think I've seen that. I must have been there years ago. Yeah.
The white building. No, a couple of weeks left on the bulk, and then we'll be cutting down a little bit for BodyPower. Not competition or anything like that. Just want to look a little bit better in the photos, Think of anything else?
No, I think we've. No. Well, I mean, I could talk all day, but.
Well, I mean, yeah. To be fair, so could I. But you're a very busy man, so I think I'm.
But you are welcome back, and next time, bit closer to the show, I'll be able to give you maybe a few more snippets of information, because I apologise for not being able to give you too much.
No, I mean, I'm sure they, everyone watching understands the kind of the legal. There is literally, well, not legal. Is legal the right word? Probably not.
It's not necessarily legal.
The
it's
potential implications.
Actually, you can screw up deals.
Yeah.
You can really screw them up, and so I don't really want to do that.
Well, no.
Yeah.
No, and it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it on your part to start, blabbing on a video like this, when people can just find out in a few weeks' time. Simple as.
But thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much.
I look forward to speaking to you again.
Yes, we'll organise it over the next couple of months or so, and because it's 14 weeks and 2 days.
Is it? Oh, don't tell me that.
But hey, who's counting? Not me. I don't know. Yeah. Thanks again, Nick.
Right.
Really appreciate it.
Cool.
Yeah, I think we went on for a little bit too long.
Yeah. What time is it?
I just glanced at my phone towards the end. It's 20 to 11.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Oops.
Oh, yeah,
Bye-bye.
just a few calls.